Good morning, folks. You're finishing up your breakfast. I'm going to begin with a short video from our choir school, who has a couple of songs to present to us, and then we'll begin our annual meeting. Call the meeting, the annual meeting of St. Peter's Salisbury Parish to order. Let us pray. Almighty and ever-living God, ruler of all things in heaven and earth, hear our prayers for this parish family. Strengthen the faithful, arouse the careless, and restore the penitent. All things necessary for our common life. Bring us all to be of one heart and mind within your holy church. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Welcome. I hope you've been able to pick up some handouts. There is an annual meeting packet for you to pick up, which includes the agenda for today. We also have a treasurer's report that didn't make the annual meeting packet, so I hope you'll have that too, and a list of all the candidates and their bios as well. And also I hope you picked up a ballot for our election for delegates. If you didn't, they're sitting over there. We can pass them out later. Also, I need everybody to sign in. There's a sign-up sheet over there. Maybe we can make that go around because the registrar is going to need that for the record, for the minutes. Also, there is a nursery available upstairs if that is needed. In the nursery, it's staffed. And so let me move forward. The 10% of the members enrolled and active are required for a quorum, and I am determined that has been met. So there is a quorum, and we will go forward. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the 2024 annual meeting. I will entertain a motion for approval of Jeff Cottingham. Yes, is there a second? A second from Fiona. Any discussion on the minutes from 2024? They are in your packet. Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from last year's annual meeting, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay? The ayes have it. The next item is the appointment of tellers. For this meeting, I am appointing Mr. Bill Day and Mr. Bill Wyatt as tellers for this meeting for any contested elections. I now call upon Ernie Cornbrooks, the chair of the nominating committee, for his report. Ernie?
Thank you, Father David. Since we have a, quote, contested election for convention delegates, I'm going to submit that list of nominees first. Someone who's very near to and dear to me, Brevard Cornbrooks. I'm also nominated myself. Atif Gettis, Linda Hurley, and John Phillips. Those are the 5 names for the 3 delegates and 2 alternates. Are there nominations from the floor? Is there a motion to close the nomination? Excellent. Hi.
Bill Day has moved nominations be closed, and Kristen has seconded.
So,
All in favor of closing nominations, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, now we're going to go to a ballot.
okay.
Do we have ballots? Does everyone have a ballot?
There are
Who needs a
written
ballot?
ballots.
They're on the, okay. All right, so, thank you. So what we're going to do is you need to vote for 3. You need to vote for 3. What happens is the top 3 vote getters will be our delegates to the 2026 convention, and the next 2 in order will be the alternate delegates, which if something happens to a delegate, we'll be able to step in and make sure we're fully represented. So vote for 3, and then turn in your ballots to the tellers. Anybody that needs a ballot? Oh, a ballot? Who has the ballots? Raise your hand if you need a ballot. Oh, good. Thank you, Mary Lou. Okay, Mary Lou, there's one over here that needs a ballot. Okay. Liza needs a ballot too. Liza needs a ballot over here. Right here? She got it? Nope. Ballot? Okay. This will be the convention where they're going to be talking about discerning our future as a diocese and also electing deputies to convention. So, and it's in Ocean City. Okay, everyone have a ballot. Anybody else needs a ballot? Raise your hand. Okay. Let's mark the ballots, and then we'll have the tellers go and count them and get the results. All right, anybody still needs to ballot? Wave your hand if you have a ballot ready to be collected. Okay, looks like we got them all. Great. All right. Okay. All right, let us move. I'm doing them first just because it's going to take a bit of time to count them. All right, let us go now to back to the nominations chair for the nominees for vestry, 3-year term. Okay. Okay. Count away. Just say a minute. I'll go ahead and do that.
I'm sorry. Okay. All right. There are 4 vestry slots to be filled, 3 3-year terms and a 2-year term. For the 3-year terms, the nominating committee submits the names of Marion Robinette, Peter Scott, and Dornell Wolford, who I don't see. For the 2-year vacancy, Bob Walton, who is seated over there.
All right. Are there any nominations from the floor?
Yes.
Yes, Jimmy.
Yes, I would like to nominate Mark Duncan. For one thing, he has experience
For a 3-year term?
for 3
Okay, all right, Mark done?
Thing is I feel that someone that is part of the outreach committee would be a help to the vestry. Money's fine, and we love it, please bring it in, but without the volunteers and without the hard work, the good works of this church would not be done.
Mark, do you accept the nomination? I accept. Okay. Any other nominations from the floor? Hearing none, then let me, is there a motion to close nominations? John Phillips, is there a second? Susan Coleman. All in favor of closing nominations, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, we have a contested election then for the vestry. You'll have, so we'll need to pass out ballots, and these you're gonna have to write the names of the three, oops. How am I doing this? What am I doing here? Okay. There is no contest for the, for Bob Walton and the, well, let's see, let's do this. There is no contest for the 2-year position. So, I would, I would like to move that we elect Bob with the registrar casting one ballot for that. Is there a motion to move that? Yes, Judy Wyatt, is there a second? Second by Trudy. All in favor of electing Bob Walton for the 2-year term by having the registrar cast one ballot, say aye. Opposed? Okay, so let me get the names of the candidates then. You have to, so we're doing an election for 3 vestry members for 3-year terms, okay? So let me write them up. You have to write 3 names on your ballot. Okay. All right, so put the names of 3 candidates down, and then we'll have to have the tellers come and determine who the 3 top vote getters are, and they will be the vestry members elected. We'll need to have somebody, because the tellers are already hard at work counting, that would be willing to gather them up. Yes, sir. Help with that? Is there any objection to our assistant rector helping to gather the ballots? All right. Yes, please help with that, yes. And then let the tellers know their work is not done. They have to count for this one. All right. Great. Let me give you another maybe minute or so to finish, and then we will move on to our next item on the agenda. Again, the names are Marion Robinette, Peter Scott, Dornell Wolford, and Mark Duncan. Technically, if they're not a member, they can't. If they're not a member, they can't. If it gets really close, it may be a problem, but hopefully it will be. All right, right, are there still ballots to be, if you wave your ballot in the air, we can count them or get them to the tellers? Okay. Let us move on to our next item, which is the financial report. I'd like to call upon the treasurer to give the treasurer's report. And while the treasurer's making her way up, I want to also thank her for coming in midterm and agreeing to be our treasurer, and then holding herself up for re-election this term too. All right, I give you Stacy Cottingham, Parish Treasurer.
Hi, good morning. Yes, my very first report for annual meeting. Treasurer summary for 2024 for the 12-month period ending December 24. Our overall net ordinary income, which is on the bottom of page 2, finished in a slightly negative position. It was just over about $3,700. Now that's $3,700 over budget. There was about $7,000 to the negative. And compared to last year, our positive position was about $9,000. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea. Our total income, which on page 1, came in at about $9,000 below budget for the year. Total offerings, our pledges, especially the pledges, we did have a large boost in December. However, overall, the income was still less than budget. We did not have any governmental money coming in, and then some of the pledges were a little bit late in coming in and not up to what our budget expected. Total expenses came in below budget. It was about $6,000, and this was from any of the expenses that we did have. Most of them did incur from our music ministry and our property expenses, but it was still better than last year. We have made since then some significant progress since the end of the year. I'm very glad to report. We've been controlling our expenses. We've been keeping close to our budget despite any of the shortfalls. And for investment update, we did change our investments from Schwab to the Episcopal Church Fund. So we did make those changes too. So as you can see in our packet, we have the income expense years review from pages 1 through 4. We have our cash balance report on page 5, our endowment report on page 6, 7, and the listing of the memorials on page 8. Thank you.
Any questions about the treasurer report? This is as of 12/31/2024. Okay, and Stacy will be around later, so you can certainly chat with her about that. Also notice on your packet, we have the parochial report for 2024, which gives you, which is the information we need to submit to the diocese and the national church. So it'll have not only attendance figures, but financial figures as well. And that's for your information. That was approved by the vestry in March. Now I'd like to call upon the chair of the Finance Committee, Karen Shields, to present our 2025 budget.
Okay, the 2025 budget was passed by the vestry in December of 2024. I'm going to give you the short and sweet version of it. The majority of our total income, you'll see this is right after the parochial report in the packet. Total income of about $529,000. The majority of that is from pledge offerings, and those pledge offerings are based on the pledges, obviously, that we had received. We can withdraw up to $37,000 from the endowment if needed. Hopefully, we will not need to do that. For expenses, our total expenses are $533,000. The majority of those expenses come from staffing. So you'll notice that the church staff compensation and the clergy compensation account for about $330,000. And then for building and grounds, which is an additional $83,000. Okay, and the resulting net income is negative $4,970, which is within 1% of our total income, and so considered acceptable. There's also the annex budget, and you'll see that we have rental income, and then our expenses. Again, property expenses is a big one for that. And again, the annex fund, the total is this time $267, and again, under 1% of the total income.
Any questions about the budget? All right, thank you. Again, the budget was passed by the vestry in December, and that is what we are operating on now. I'd now like to call upon the senior warden, Ernie Cornbrooks, for a report. Oh, actually, before that, reports of committees, they're all filed by title, so please read them. The committees have put their reports in your annual meeting packet, so read through them and at your leisure. Ernie.
Good morning again, Father David. I'm happy that my term as senior warden is over. But I have to say I'm even happier that I did it. It was a wonderful experience. It was a real pleasure working with the vestry, the members of the vestry. It's a very talented group of people. They're very dedicated to the well-being of St. Peter's. And I think the church is in good hands in that respect. Two things that I was kind of worried about coming into this was the financial status of the parish. The 23, or the stewardship campaign 2023 did not turn out as well as I had hoped, but we did much better during the campaign last year. For this year's budget, we were ahead of inflation by 4%. The rate of inflation was 3.2%. Giving went up about 7.5%, and I thought that was terrific, and I appreciate the financial support from the parish. A big part of the efforts that I have been in this year involves the stuff that's coming up under new business, and it's very exciting. I'm looking forward to the presentations under the new business. It's about the discernment that's going to go on in the future, about the future of St. Peter's and some of the things that we want to do, that we have to do, that we think we can do, and I hope you all will enjoy the presentation on that. And since I've been directed to keep this as short as possible, I will conclude by saying that the real joy I've had working as senior warden was working with Father David. I got to know him in a new way. I am the rector's warden. He's a great guy. He's a great pastor. And I had 20 years as chancellor. I worked with and against a couple of times all of the rectors and most of the clergy in the diocese. We got the number one guy. He's great. Thank you, and I wish you well.
Thank you, Ernie. We come to appreciations, and I want to just say a few words about those parishioners, volunteers that are completing their terms on the vestry. First of all, I want to give great thanks to Catherine Allen, who's completing her term. She has been the Education Committee Liaison, very much involved with the education of our children and youth. She has been a great representative on the vestry for parents and young families, and really appreciate all of her hard work as a member of the vestry. Thank you, Catherine. Nancy Burdette is concluding her 3-year term on the vestry. She has been liaison for the Fellowship and Evangelism Committee, and more than that, she has been a stalwart volunteer at many events and dinners. She works a lot behind the scenes and has been a great partner with Jeff Cottingham in organizing our many events and activities. It is also not her first time on the vestry, and I'm grateful that she came back on, and we value her wisdom and her understanding of the parish, and we thank you very much, Nancy, for your service on the vestry. Also completing her term on the vestry is Kristen Mallory. Kristen is the liaison to the Planned Giving Committee and very much a big supporter of Planned Giving and what we're doing here in the parish. But one of the things that has been truly great about her is she agreed to lead the online ministry task force, looking at how we can be pulling ourselves into the 21st century and have an online presence. And one of the results was the hiring of Blair to be our social media manager. And we have got, I think, a much better presence, and we are now looking, you got a wonderful report done by Warwick that really gave us insight as to what we can be doing as a parish in evangelism and in a presence. And so I really appreciate your leadership there, and you've been a member of the discernment task force that has brought us to the point we're going to be at what you see in new business. So, Kristen, I really thank you for your great service on this vestry. Now we also are saying goodbye to her husband, Greg, who just had just 1 year on the vestry, and at that time he's been the liaison to the St. Cecilia Guild Steering Committee, but he also has been a member of the Vanderbilt Art Scholarship Committee and one of our worship camera operators, and just been very big supporter. So he's going off because the two of them are having to leave us, but the great news is that Kristen has got a promotion as the president of, what's the community, Westmoreland County Community College. And so congratulations to you. They're going to have to be moving, leaving, but we wish you well, and let me know when your last Sunday is, because we want to pray for you and all for that, and bless you. And then finally, I just want to say a word of thanks to Ernie Cornbrooks, who's completing his 1-year term as senior warden, a position he's had in the past, and it is sometimes very difficult to get wardens to come back for another term. And I'm seeing some senior wardens and the past senior wardens nodding their heads. So it was wonderful for him to do that. He has been doing critical work on our discernment as we look forward to a capital campaign. He's been a good advisor and a friend and a font of wisdom over the past year. So let's show our appreciation for Ernie and his leadership. Now we'll move on to the rector's report. I'm pleased to report to you that St. Peter's Salisbury Parish has had a good year of stability and vibrancy as it undertakes its mission and ministries. While we do not have the attendance numbers of previous generations, we are seeing more attendance at worship and events and more participation in volunteer activities from the previous year, and we are seeing greater generosity by parishioners in providing resources for the ministries and operations of the church. So I extend a hearty thank you to you for your devotion and your support of your church. I'd like to highlight a few items that happened in the past year. First, as I said, alluded to before, we hired our first part-time social media manager, Blair Andrews, who spent time revamping our website and our social media presence. We devoted some resources to targeted social media advertising, which has brought more attention to such events as our highly successful Fall Bazaar and our Advent and Christmas events and spring events. The vestry decided to keep Blair in this position as we explore our social media evangelism over the next year and see what else we can be doing to minister to people whom we reach online. More people are viewing our live stream and sharing our events and activities than ever before. The Holy Spirit is doing something new with our online presence, and we need to continue exploring what is possible. And I want to thank Blair for all his good work on that. James Wallace, with his work directing our music ministries, has seen much success in the past year. He has reestablished our choir school, as you saw that in the beginning, working with homeschooled families. He has provided our small but mighty choir excellent music presentations at our worship service, as well as evensongs and lessons and carols, and started up a Thursday sung compline offering. His organ recitals were warmly welcomed, and his direction direction of a standing room only Messiah sing-along in December is now legendary. He also questioned why we continue to have the old molar organ pipes in the church, and he led us toward moving them out of the church, which has brought some exciting opportunities to consider, especially the possibility of the installation of a chapel in the now vacant room where the pipes used to be. We're sad he'll be leaving us on June 1st, but we wish him well in his retirement, and we'll celebrate his time with us on June 1st. Thank you for your excellent work, James. I'm grateful that Lauma Acme has accepted the position of music director and will start the week after James leaves, and I believe she'll carry on the good work of James and provide some additional offerings to this parish as well. And we're in constant communication, so she's very excited to come here, and we're preparing for that. We continue to offer public prayer every day in the church, one of the few churches in Salisbury and one of the few churches in our diocese to do so, to open our doors for daily prayer. I am grateful to the clergy and worship leaders and the altar guild and altar service ministers to continue to make this possible. Our outreach committee continues to provide leadership for our parish and our ministries to be the heart and hands of Christ in our community. Our Blessing Box ministry to those who are food challenged continues for its 5th year. Our relationship with our partner school-wide middle continues to make a difference in the lives of youth in need in our community. Our outreach to the homeless through our participation in the men's homeless shelter and the Joseph Howe lunches continues to involve many parishioners in these vital services. We at St. Peter's are making a difference, and the outreach committee is continuing to seek out other possible ministries to pursue. Many thanks to the outreach committee. Let's give them a round of applause. I would like to thank Laurie Butler and Betsy Kerrigan for their leadership in the Hearts and Hands Knitting Ministry for many years. The ministry wrapped up this year, at least for a while, but their work to enable us to present prayer shawls to the homebound and those who are sick or in distress, to give warm hats to the homeless, blankets to newly baptized babies, and scarves to our college-bound seniors is greatly appreciated. Thank you very much, Laurie and Betsy, for your ministry. This past year, we were graced with the presence of Deacon Lynn Wilginen, who was ordained deacon and spent her year as a deacon with us, gaining valuable experience in our liturgies and being exposed to the life in a parish as an ordained person. She will be ordained in 2 weeks as a priest. The bishop, due to engagement of deacons serving other parishes, does not have a deacon to assign us at this time, but conversations are ongoing. I'm not giving up on this. I am grateful for the continued work and ministries of our assistant rector, Pastor Greg Harbaugh, especially in working with the parish as we struggle to fund this position. We are paying him this year for just 10 months of part-time work. I'm grateful that he's able to share with me in liturgical responsibilities and for his excellent, very good work, pastoral work with members of this congregation. Thank you, Pastor Greg, for your service. As we look to the future, we are facing some capital projects we need to fund. And your vestry has taken a leadership role in addressing an issue after devoting careful study and prayer. This isn't something they just thought of overnight. They have been working on this. This will be addressed in our agenda item under new business. Beyond the parish, we are also facing in the diocese a transition when our current bishop, Santosh Murray, retires on October 15th. I've been appointed co-chair of the Diocesan Discernment Committee, which is leading the diocese on a discernment of our future, whether we want to move forward to search for a new bishop of Easton, or whether we may want to share in church governance with a neighboring diocese in some form or another. The committee is working with the standing committee, who will become the ecclesiastical authority in the diocese once the bishop retires. Parishioner Linda Hurley is a member of the standing committee. It is hoped that the standing committee will appoint an assisting bishop so that we can continue to have bishop visits and other Episcopal services through this transition. The next diocesan convention, as I said, will take place February 26th to 28th nearby in Ocean City, and will feature discussions discerning our diocesan future, and I hope many of you will consider taking part in this historic convention. I'm grateful for the trust you put in me as your rector for now 12 years. I'm also grateful for your gracious support in the last couple of months while I dealt with the burial of my mother. This is a very loving, caring community, and I appreciate your words of kindness and sympathy to me. May we continue to love one another as Jesus commands, and may we continue to do our best to honor our Lord in our worship, in our fellowship, in our formation and outreach to each other and to the wider community here at St. Peter's Church. Thank you. The next item on the agenda are questions for rector and vestry. Are there any questions for rector and vestry? All right. Do we have any results from the elections yet? No. All right. All right, let's, we have no old business, so we'll move on to new business. And we have one item on the agenda, which is discernment, future of our buildings. And we will have presentations by Karen Shields, Ron Morgan, and then I will wrap this up. We will adjourn by 10:15. So wherever we are, we have to adjourn by 10:15. And it's 9:56 right now. All right, we're passing out do you need help passing out that, okay, great. All right, so I'll go to Karen, who has the floor for the first part of our discussion. Oh, and let me.
Oops, why didn't it switch? It's switched there. Okay, before you get hot and heavy into all the stuff that's on the handout in front of you, let me give you some background information and talk about this a little bit. And this is about the church facility capital projects. One note before we start, in 2008, the Peters Place building was being sold, and we had the opportunity to purchase the annex. And we took advantage of that opportunity and purchased it. And I want you, if you were here then, to think back to what things were like then. We were bursting at the seams at Peters Place in terms of kids in Sunday school. And so we really, things were growing, and that's what it was. And so the decision to do that was a good decision. But we're in a different environment in 2025, and so now we need to make decisions again. I laughed and joked at the vestry retreat, we called it, planning event, and I said, how many of you joined the vestry to make hard decisions about the future of the church? And everybody looked at me and was like, and I said, I know, same thing, but it's our job. So we've spent a lot of time, as Father David said, looking at all of these options. If you go ahead and forward, yeah, and I have them come up one at a time. So, in 2024, the property committee put together a list of capital projects that needed to be addressed in the church, parish, and annex. And if you look on the sheet that you were given, under Concept A, right here, that's the list that they gave without number 1 in it. So from 2 to the end. It was an extensive list. That prompted the Finance Committee to request that we review the resources needed and the usage of the parish annex. And because of that, so you can click the next one, and then the next one too. And because of that, the Parish Task Force Parish Annex Task Force was created. They evaluated, looked at all of the different factors that come into play, and they submitted their report to the vestry. That report resulted in the addition of number 1 on that list, okay? So where 1 was left out before, it's in there now. In 2025, the vestry began the discernment process for a possible, go ahead and click, thanks, for a possible capital campaign. And as David mentioned, actually David didn't mention this yet. An important part of this discernment process is going to be getting input from the parishioners. Are you going to talk about the cottage meetings at some point?
Do that at the end.
Okay. And so we have an opportunity coming up as part of the discernment process to get that input. One of the things that happened is the formation of the project working group, and they went in and they used what we had as a list of projects for the church, the parish house, and the parish annex, and came up with some options, which are what you're looking at, and we'll talk about those more in a minute. The 2 concepts that were put together, one was to keep the annex, so that's concept A. So if you look at this little graph, if you look at this, you'll see up there church, parish house, annex, and then those are the buildings correspondingly on there. And concept B is to not keep the parish annex. The vestry, so you can go ahead to the next one. I'm not going to talk about this in detail because Ron's going to talk about it in a minute. The vestry worked with our consultant, Leslie Pendleton, on a Saturday, all day long, when it was nice out. No, maybe it was raining. And we came up with, we really had a deep discussion. And I did start it with that statement and said, here we go. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, and we're going to make some recommendations, and this is the future of the church, but it's not a gloomy thing. We just needed to figure out what to do. So we looked at all the input. We looked at the report, I'm a fidgeter, the report from the task force. We looked at the information from the property committee. We put charts up and listed where the different buildings were being used. So we looked at the church, the parish house, the parish annex, and then also the courtyard and the little parking lot and garden area. So we looked at a lot of information. We pulled a lot of that together. And as a result of that, we came up with a list of recommendations. And these are on the back of that sheet so that you have them. The resources should be concentrated on the church and the parish house. The church and parish house have enough space for all current and future ministries. And some people might say, no, we don't, but we do. One is we can use the spaces a little differently. There's things that are used once a week. Well, heck, that gives us a lot of time to use it otherwise. And there's little hidden places that we don't think about. Oh, that was one thing that happened on that Saturday. The vestry members were taken on a top to bottom tour of both this building and the annex so that everybody knew what was where. The parish annex should be sold. And finally, the facilities should be accessible to all. It's important. And so those are the 4 recommendations that the vestry established. And based on that, we'll go forward with our discernment process. As I said, we'll have cottage meetings. We've done that once before to get input from the parishioners. And we will also have the working project group go in and do focus on and hone in on concept A, B, of the 2 choices. And so to talk about that, we have Ron Morgan, and he's going to talk a little bit about these concepts that you guys see. I have it up there as well.
Good morning. We have the pleasure, we've been working here at St. Peter's since, I believe, 1988, so it's It's good news for an architect when you have to do a project more than once. Okay, I'm sorry.
You have to go by the live stream is on the mic.
Okay, sorry. The drawing to the left essentially depicts what would be an ideal renovation for the church. It would accommodate all of vestry's desires in both the church, the parish hall, and the annex. Solution B was a more frugal alternative, which involved selling the annex. And I know there's a lot of consternation on the two of those. I was not able to really make a lot of visionary judgment in that regard. That's really a financial and a prediction that the vestry has for the future of the church. I do know that this building has quite a bit of potential in hidden volume spaces that could be used perhaps more operationally efficiently. In essence, our initial goal on our committee was to evaluate quantitatively what's the difference in cost between the two. And in essence, it's about $1.5 million to $3 million in difference. So a total difference of about $1.5 million. And I think that was a large factor in the evaluation of the economy of keeping the annex. I believe all the programmatic requirements that the vestry outlined can be accomplished within the Scheme B, including the renovations that were talked about, the conversion of the chancel from the previous pipes, et cetera. So I'll be glad to answer any questions. I know that you want to keep it high level and in short order, but that's in essence the report of the property committee.
We have a couple minutes for questions.
If there are any questions? Yes, ma'am.
If the annex does get sold, do the renovations still have to be done on it?
I'm sorry, missed the last.
If the annex gets sold, do the renovations still have to be done on it?
I would assume that I'm not a representative of the church, but I would assume that the property would be sold as is and put, yes.
The property committee is not prepared to make the repairs that would be needed, so it would be sold as is.
Right. Yes, Bill.
You know, I'm looking at this, and I'm really impressed with the work that's gone into this. I've been involved with the annex concerns and a lot of other issues with the property. But this work is superb. And I'm glad we're at this point, because I think we could really make the decision on what we now see and what we truly do understand about the church's position. So I'm impressed.
Good, thank you. Other questions? Andy, do you have a question? It's my understanding that there's a desire to clean the triptych, and there was a I believe a $10,000 line item added for that. I'm sorry? To have it cleaned. It's just a cleaning. Cleaning.
That includes the roof beam as well, and we're gonna have to restore there as a roof beam.
Yes,
Same treatment that
yes,
the triptych needs.
yes.
Ron, thank you so much for all the work you're doing. Really appreciate that. All right, you're just getting this. It's starting to sink in, but we really want to have conversations with you about what the vestry is recommending and where we might be going, and a dream, too, of things that could be happening in our church, like with the chapel, with lighting, better lighting, and lights keep going out, so it keeps more of an issue, with things that we can do. I mean, we last did a major reorganization of the parish house back in 1990. So, I mean, we can be looking, how can we reorganize things in this parish house for the future? It's been a long time. So these are opportunities to dream, to think about, to see what we might want to do. We're going to have conversations. We're going to have, in the next 2 weeks, cottage meetings, which one of the vestry members is going to facilitate a meeting of up to 10 people on a group, and we're going to have like an hour to 90 minutes of conversations about our future and about what we're talking about. And then we're going to take all of that information that we glean, the thoughts and all, and get it analyzed. The consultant's going to help with that, and get it back to the vestry when it goes on retreat the first Saturday in June. So we've got, I think, 11 different cottage meetings happening starting Wednesday through next week. We've got a cottage meeting after each service next Sunday and the next Sunday, and they're all over there. And what I'd like you to do after this meeting is go and sign up. Sign up to be at one. We have some during the day, some in the evening. We got Zooms if that works for you. And we want to be able to have these conversations in the next couple of weeks. So I hope you'll go afterwards and find a time which you can commit to being part of the conversation, okay? And from that, what we'll do, plan on moving forward, and we'll do a feasibility study. That's the next thing. We'll be able to then put together a capital campaign to figure out how we're going to fund and where the excitement is to fund certain things so that we can move forward on this. That's the plan. Question? Yes, Bill?
In the plan B.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Does it take into consideration what selling the annex and how that will impact the financial requirement of Plan B? In other words, 1.5
Mm-hmm.
million. Does that take in the annex having been sold?
You can put your thoughts in on these cottage meetings. It might be that maybe part of this, the sale could be in a few years. We may need the money now. We also have issues like we have a small endowment. Perhaps towards that endowment. Perhaps it could go in to pour to the capital campaign, but we're going to have to look at raising some money too. So and these are part of our conversations. All right. We are just about out of time, so thank you very much, Vestry and Karen, for that. Before we go, I have the results of the elections. So for the election for delegate, the following three are elected for delegates to the 2026 convention: Brevard Cornbrooks, Linda Hurley, alternate, and John Phillips. In the election for vestry for 3-year terms, the following three people are elected: Dornell Wolford, Peter Scott, Mark Lincoln. Thank you very much, tellers, for your prompt counting. Congratulations to all of them who put yourself up for nomination. And now we have come to 10:14. Is there a motion to adjourn? From Fiona. All right. Is there a second? Jeff Cottingham. A motion to adjourn is not debatable. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Go in peace to love and serve the Lord. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Vestry, new vestry, I need you upstairs in the library for a quick organizing meeting. Thank you all very much. New vestry members. Oh, no.